what we'll do is we're going to chant a mantra, um, and then we'll sit for like 5 minutes. I can see the clock over there. The mantra is Om Dram, D-R-A-M, Om Guru Dattaya Namaha. And that mantra is to have the blessing of the masters and the saints. It comes under the category of Guru Mantra, which means the blessing of the divine mind, wisdom, and purity. That's what comes from those great masters. So like my master Sadguru Sant Keshavadas, he's here with his spouse. They're like an embodied manifestation of that mantra. All the masters are. So by saying that type of a mantra, you invoke their presence within your heart and your psyche, so that there's a divine transformation. So we can all just say it together, and I have it counted out here.
Can you say it again?
Yes, the mantra is Om Dram, Om Guru Dattaya Namaha. Dattaya refers to the great master Dattatreya, which was more than a master. He was actually Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva in one manifestation. See? So it was actually Puna Avatar, meaning the full manifestation of God. See? Is Dattatreya, and you can say the first guru, the root of all the gurus, the root of all the masters is Dattatreya. See? When he was manifest in the earth. So again, your spine is erect. Om Dram Om Guru Dattaya Namaha. 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 And then gently sit still for 5 minutes. And gently take a deep breath in. And then release the breath. And then you can slowly open your eyes. Good. Good. I thank you all, one and all, for coming. What is today's date? December 21st. Oh, the solstice? I see. So, but today we have a topic, living a purposeful life. Again, very big topic. And in this particular situation, it's a collaborative effort. Everybody here has tremendous hidden potential and tremendous hidden purpose. But by and large, you generally don't realize it. Every now and then you have someone who realizes it, like, from a boy they wanted to be a fireman, and as a man they became a fireman. Or as a child they were an artist, and as an adult they became an artist. Every now and then you have people like that. That may be 15%. The rest of us, like, who am I? What am I? Where am I going? What am I supposed to do? Is sort of a fog of unknowing. What to do. So we go through so much of life, what to do. But part of my job as a Dharma teacher is not to tell you what to do, but to help you unveil or to reveal what to do, what you as an individual is to do. You have to look at it this way. You're all born of God. So there's that divine stardust is in your heart. But we become so busy, so complexed, so purposely or unpurposely engaged that we're too busy to look deep into the heart to see what we have to do, to see our finer qualities and to learn to cultivate them. We're just extremely busily engaged, So we get forgetful of our own mission. Even if we say, "Oh, what's my mission?" Wait a minute, I never heard that question before. But you're not born arbitrarily. You're all born with a purpose. Written across your heart. Before you get your visa to come back to Earth. A purpose is written across your heart. But when you get back here, not that often does someone say, sit quietly and search your heart to find out your meaning, your purpose, your mission. We have all these senses that are flying outward and all these types of engagements outward. And no one tells us to stop, lean back, look deep within, and try to find what was written on your heart before you were sent back, recycled, or reincarnated. So you have this sort of divine stardust written in your heart that's present with you. And then you have the Dharma teachers, which are souls that are compelled by God to serve and to help. It's not a volunteer job. You're compelled to do it. You're basically drafted. You know, lovingly, joyfully, happily drafted, but you're drafted. You know. And then you have the infinite reality, the divine Satchidananda, that vast, beneficent creator. So it's three parts, you know, to your story. And as we spoke about many months ago, the Dharma teachers or the gurus, they come in many forms, but you're always being sent the teacher. People think, oh, I don't have a teacher. That's not true. It just means you're not paying attention, which is okay. That's normal in this world, not to pay attention. But the teacher can come as scripture. The teacher can come as nature. Your first teacher is your conscience. You know, it's already installed in you, your conscience. You know, then the Dharma teachers are there. And so there's many. There's always something there to help guide you. Heaven never sends a soul into the world bereft, lacking guidance. It's just that we have to slow down and pay attention. And then we start to realize that there's guidance. But if we're rushing through the world trying to consume everything that's shiny we chase after, then all the teachers are standing there quietly. They're just waiting for you to slow down, to be still, so that they can give you the guidance. They're there. They're standing there with a cup. But we're too busy. We're too actively engaged. We're so passionate about everything around us that we miss the quiet offering that's being made. So that slowing down process has to happen, so that we can sort of take an inventory of our life. The key is to stop rushing. Just stop, and pay attention. You know, not stop with anxiety. Just stop. Stop. Take a breath. Breathe, and just say, what is there for me to learn here? You know, what is here of value? See? And not what's shiny, what's passionate, but what has substantive value. See? For each person, it'll be different. If we all take an inventory of our lives, we have to look at a multitude of situations. If you take like the major life situations that you've been in, so let's say your family life is one life, your educational life is another life, whether you're married or you're in an intimate relationship, that's another massive facet of life. The career that you choose. One has to stop and say, what is of value here? You know, what is of value in my family life? I don't care if you had a really messed up family life. That doesn't make a difference. There's always something. If you stop and be still, something of value was there. Something to learn was there. You know, something of interest is there. But we can't look at it in an emotional way. We have to have a very cool mind and say what was of value there. So let's say you had a totally messed up childhood. But was there any love anywhere there? Maybe it could have been of a brother to a sister, or inside the house was a big mess, but outside when you looked out the window, it was peaceful. So that sort of kept you stable. Or you knew no matter how much chaos there was, for some way you were strong, that you know somehow you're going to survive. You have to find what was of value. You know, even in the very worst of situations, there's always something of value. You know, it could even meant saying, "Oh God," that the whole world around you was crumbling, and in that crumbling, you said, "Oh God," in a sincere way. That was the event of great value. See? Maybe everything around in the world was crumbling, but that crucible that you were in cast you into deeper faith. See? So we have to look at every major situation and say what was of value. And this is the case where you write it down, you know, so that you maintain a type of clarity. When we look at the topic of living a purposeful life, at the end of the day, we only truly invest in what has value to us. See? We might do a lot of different activities, but over a prolonged period of time, we only really invest in what we have value in, what we value. You know, and often these values are unconscious. So we go through the world trying to have that value manifest, but we don't quite have it in word. We don't quite have it in clarity, but we have it in feeling. And it's the reason that we don't have it crystallized is because we haven't sat still and deeply analyzed in a non-emotional way, but in a loving, compassionate, thoughtful way. What had value in that situation? See? Make it crystallize so you can really think it out. And then, as you can find what really had significant value, Hey Krishna, Ram Krishna, what really had value, then you can start to take that process of investment, to invest in what you have value. So that's one side of the coin. Another side of the other side of the coin, again, these are all analytical processes, is to say to yourself, you know, what do I really want? What do I really need? So like we all see lots of people running around the world saying, I want love, you know, I want someone to love me, all this kind of stuff. You know, and some other people say, I want power, I want position. Everybody's running around saying, I want something. You know, so we have to look deeply as to what has compelled us to run around the world saying, I want this, I want that. Because we all have friends that are bouncing from relationship to relationship to relationship. We all know people who are climbing the ladder, trying to get more position, more power, more sovereignty. There's nothing wrong with power. It's just how you use it. See? Power is okay. It's just how you use it. Often we see people clawing for power, but it's an unenlightened power. You know, power is a divine element. It's an element of God. So nothing matter with it. It's just how you use it. See? Nothing matter with relationships. Just how you use it. See? So if you take a keen analysis of what you consciously and unconsciously have been running around seeking to try to feel like a whole person, again, you have to write this stuff down and be ruthlessly honest. You don't have to put it on a billboard. Just be ruthlessly honest with yourself. And between finding the things that were truly of value in the major circumstances of life, that's one thing, and the great emotional and psychological needs that you yourself have been chasing around looking for, between those two things, you're going to find your purpose. Now, all the things you've been running around, I want a relationship, I want power, I want stability. I mean, a lot of people are running around doing all kinds of, 10,000 activities. It's not the activity that they wanted. Maybe they wanted security. See? But they're doing 10,000 different activities trying to find some form of security. Now, this is where the yogic methodology comes in. Is after you make an analysis of what you've been chasing after, the divine principle is the thing that you seek, is the thing you should give. See? Yeah, it's a type of revelation, huh? So, because we're sort of unconscious, we sort of think that we need it. Well, you've made a correct analysis of this is an element in my life. But where we went wrong is we thought it was absent in our life. The very fact that we're conscious of it, let's say you want love, general thing that everybody can understand. The very fact that you were conscious of the principle of love, and that because of your unenlightened vision, that you were bereft of it. From a yogic perspective, that's the thing that should spur you to say, this is an important element of life, and that I should become a generator of that love. Take that principle and become a generator. In an unenlightened way, in a tamaguna mind, you want just to be the consumer. You just want to find it and absorb it, because you feel an inadequacy. But you should say, okay, I'm looking for that, but the very fact that I'm conscious of it, how can I find it in myself? Where is it in myself? And oh wow, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 10. This is like really important. So if it's that important to you, it's also that important to a whole lot of other people. So the Dharma teachers are there to say, because you're sensitive of that element in life, that's the element that you should try to generate in the lives of others. In trying to fill another person's cup, your cup is filled. See, as human beings, as unenlightened human beings, we try to fill our cup first, me first. And then we'll deal with you guys. That's just an unenlightened mind. Now, if you take a mother and her child, and let's say they're in a condition of poverty, the mother will say, oh, hunger is present. But not one morsel of food will pass her lips before she feeds that child. See? That's your real hidden nature, where you look to the other first. See? Not one morsel of food will pass that mother's lips before she takes care of that child. She'll go everywhere to get something for that child. And then after the child is taken care of, then she'll partake. See, that's your deeper nature. That's your hidden nature. That nature is born of true love, true sacrifice. See? But as common human beings, we're still working on a very superficial mind. And in that superficial mind, we think of me first. If you look at any of the saints, in any of the traditions, there was no me first. There was no me first in any of them, in any of the traditions. There's always in every faith you'll find the concept of charity, of giving without seeking anything in return. You're giving for the glory of God, giving for the upliftment of the kingdom. So in the silence that we have to be reflective, see, all the Dharma teachers wait for you to run around and exhaust yourself. And then when you're really tired, we quietly come to you and say, can I help? But first you've got so much vigor, so much passion, that we could be talking on a bullhorn and you won't hear us. But when you're exhausted, when you're wounded, when you're limping, when you're out of gas, then you can quietly hear the voice of the Dharma teachers, and they tell you to be still, look within. There's some golden thing in your heart that you have to find and that you have to fulfill. See? The notion that each human being has a mission can be completely novel. What mission? Nobody told me. Nobody showed me. It's because you've been running so fast for so long that who could tell you anything if you're running 90 miles an hour by? We have to wait quietly, patiently, until you're exhausted, till you're slowed down, or till you fall into a ditch. And then we can quietly say, let me help you. Let me talk to you. Let's spend some time together. And then you can slowly start. The teacher's not giving you anything. The teacher is trying to awaken you to your own heart, to awaken to what's in you. What you've been chasing after is already in you. The reason it became so important is because you were supposed to be sharing it, because you were supposed to be generating it. Not trying to acquire it. It's already in you. But the reason it was important was because you were supposed to become a generator of it, not because you were in need of it. See the psychological mistake we make? We thought, oh, I needed it. You didn't need it. You already have it. You're aware of it because you're supposed to become a generator of it. The love and the kindness of God was supposed to flow through you into the world through that principle. Maybe it's the principle of power. Maybe it's the principle of love. Maybe it's the principle of stability. Maybe it's joy. Whatever you're seeking, that's your path of service. That's your path. It's your piece of the puzzle in this universe. See? So this turns a lot of things topsy-turvy. When you thought you were in need of it, it's not that you're in need of it. Your mission was to become a generator of it. To make people smile, to make people happy, to make people have a sense of security, have a sense of love. All those things that you want is part of your mission. And over time, you become stronger and stronger in it, and more and more of it will flow through you. See? So that you can make people feel secure. Even a lot of times as regular people we think, oh, I only have so much. What can I do to help? I can't do anything. So we get distracted, so we seek as much pleasure and as much comfort for ourselves because we sort of feel inadequate in doing anything else. So I can't really change the world. I can't really make a difference. So I'm gonna think about me, and get as much as I can. And we sort of forget. We think of ourselves in a foolish way as commonly human, and that's really foolish. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad, but it's a tamasic dream. So how did we get here? The miracle, the birth itself is a miracle. You were born by a miracle. You have to think about that. The very fact that you were born and took a breath is a miracle. You came out of a miracle. If you were birthed through a miracle, don't you think heaven has something special for you to do? Every human being should feel special. That God has something for me to do. Not, oh, I'm just this way. I just live in this town. I just have so much capacity. That's all I can do. That's really, really, really unenlightened. That's the giant thinking it's a midget. That's the situation. And that's a mental distortion. When the giant thinks it's a midget. It's a mental distortion. So we have to break those distortions and say, heaven has meaning for me. Heaven has meaning for me. So if you realize heaven has meaning for me, and the teacher is saying, it's written in a note across your heart. Oh my God. I never checked my heart. I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm having this passion and that passion, but I never quieted down and checked my heart to see what was going on. See? I know I can read outside and see notes, but no one told me something was written in my heart. So that's where we learn to slow down. And that's where the process of revelation has to become an individual process in each and every person's life. That you were born out of a miracle. So you don't think mysticism is hidden within you? Is part of the very fabric of your being? It's there. But you have to slow down. Listen to the sages. Listen to the saints. Listen to the yogis. Read the scriptures. All of the saints will tell you that what they're doing is within you. That they were just a common being and became an extraordinary being through the process of revelation. They were made of the earth just like you and came into the earth just like you. The only difference is they entered the process of revelation. They entered the process of revealing what was hidden in their hearts. See? That's what made them special. They simply became aware of what was hidden in their hearts. The divine mission that they were given. And then they simply acted out. That's why you have all these different saints living all these different lives and doing all these different activities. Every saint is completely different. Start reading saints. You'll see they're all totally different. But they all have a very particular mission. See? And it's simply them fulfilling what was written on their hearts. See? So we should abandon the notions as I am nobody. I can only do so much. I can't really make a difference. We have to abandon that. That is sort of lead in your brain. That no one has shaken you to wake up. So like in a regular human being, sometimes it takes a car accident for them to find the meaning of life. Before they're just sort of plodding through their life. They might even be doing everything right, quote, right. And it's only when they crash into a tree and they come, inches from losing their lives that they say, God, life must have more meaning. It must be more special. I can't believe I'm alive. I must be alive for a reason. And then they stop. And then they look deeply, But it took a car crash to wake them up, from you living just this common conventional existence and sort of unempowered life to saying, wait a minute, I'm alive, all of a sudden now they're traveling the world and they're, feeding kids in Uganda, doing all kinds of wild and wonderful things. But it took a car wreck to break the sort of the common pace and trotting forward of common life, common expectation. sort of a disempowered life, and you're just sort of hoping for the best, but sort of disempowered. But the moment you can stop and start to say, what are my real values? And what were the things that I thought I personally needed? So you start to engage in your values, and the things that you felt that you needed become a generator of. Then your whole life flips over. It just makes a 180, topsy-turvy, you know. And in the beginning, you think, well, what can I do? But you start with little projects, little experiments, you know. You know, how many people can I make smile today? How many honest, kind words can I say today? Just start with a simple thing like that. Not just kind words, but honest, kind words. How many honest, kind words can I say today? And you just say, okay, for 12 days, I'm going to practice an honest kindness with people that I meet. And start to see. You'll start to see the hidden alchemy in you. You're a nuclear plant and you don't realize it. You know, you're a nuclear plant and you're running around with a 2-watt bulb. You know, you have enough light to shine through the stars, but you're not aware of it. So by starting little experiments of what are my root values and what are the things that I really thought I needed, between those two things, you'll find your purpose. So this is leading a purposeful life. See? And the thing is, don't try to change the world. Try to change the place that you stand. You know, make your experiments small, and as you get skill in what's small, then you'll do what's greater. See? Okay, there's that young girl, Malala, who was shot in the head by the Pakistanis. Little baby. I mean, she just won the Nobel Peace Prize. Look at the tragedy that she went through, and in that tragedy, her purpose exploded. She was already doing good work, trying to bring education to children as a child herself. You know, can you imagine this little girl running around in these villages trying to increase education for children, you know, and girls and such? So she had a mission that was written into her heart. She was aware of it, and she was doing her little bit. And then a tragedy occurs, but that same tragedy is what blew her up to a worldwide figure, to bring a tremendous amount of light onto an issue of child poverty, a lack of education for children. Again, she's living out a mission. The child was born with that mission. And in her life, looked at, you know, what would I like? What would I like? I want to go to school. So it was a need that she had. I want to be educated. I want to be empowered. I want to have meaning. So she wanted education. And she took the next step. Not only do I want education for me, I want education for all the kids. See, she took it to the next level. It wasn't just about her. She said, I'm hungry, they're hungry, let's find a way to feed everybody. See? So that's a perfect example of someone finding their purpose and living a purposeful life by saying, what do I need? Well, I'm impoverished. All these other children are impoverished. Let's try to destroy this educational empowerment. Let's try to destroy that system, make a new system. See? That child is a message to all of us to look at her and say, if that little uneducated, poverty-stricken child can change the world, what about me? You know, with my education, with my privilege, with my position. You know, look at that child, where she's come from. You know, she had nothing. But that child is changing the world. Extraordinary. So you see these childs, don't think of them as other. Think about, hey, if she can do it, what about me? You know, if heaven wrote something in that child's heart, what was written in my heart? See? And then start, do your bit. You know, by the small community you have, examine your values very clearly. Examine your needs very clearly, and then start to serve. You know, your values will keep you on track. What you will do, what you won't do. You know, and then your needs are what needs to be fulfilled. It's your special sensitivity. You know, and each person will have a different sensitivity. So you're fulfilling your part of the puzzle. See, you're not the entire puzzle. You have one bit to take care of. We have to realize, and this is the teachers are here to help to clarify this. We're like a little pebble that heaven picks up off the earth and then tosses it into the sky. And as it tosses into the sky, it starts to look like a comet. And then as it settles in the sky, it's like a star. That's your life. In the beginning, we think of ourselves as a pebble, you know, which is nice but somewhat insignificant. As we start to find our purpose, then we become like a comet. We become an action, a verb. See? And that verb has a plume. It has an effect in the world. And then, as it settles in the heavens, people say, okay, by that star I can guide myself. See? You become that star that's in the heavens with a plethora of other divine stars, but each one you can guide yourself by. See? You're ultimately something beautiful. You started out a pebble and you landed up a star. That arc of travel is a divine arc, a divine gift, a divine transit that we all have to make. But we have to accept that we can live an enlightened, action, mystical life. You know, that let's just temporarily put the word magic and mysticism together. That there's a magic in life. And that magic is endowed with a mysticism. And that mysticism, that magic is in your heart, and it was written by God itself. See? I don't care how poor you are, how educated or uneducated. Now, aren't you a little bit special? You know, try to realize that you really are special. Forget what society says about you. Forget that. Who are they? Who are they? You know, start to try to find the voice of God, the mission of God. You know, I mean, what doesn't have purpose in life? Look out the window and look at everything. What doesn't have purpose? See? So it's a matter of unveiling your purpose. It's unveiling your purpose. And then finding a means of exercising your purpose. So you're all unbelievably special, but you're all unbelievably sleepy. So you're sort of dozing through life, not realizing, you know, the teacher says, sit up straight, concentrate, clear your mind, pay attention. They're like, get up, wake up, wake up. You know? It's simply because you're dozing. You're not paying attention. You're sort of going through the mundane humdrum of life. You know, and you might look at all the people. They get millions of dollars and they've got big fancy names and big fancy office. Aren't they happy? I don't think so. You go into their personal life, the kids hate them. You know, the wife's got one foot out the door, and she's taking the wealth with her. They're not happy. They're not happy at all. They haven't looked into their heart and said, what's really, really important? What are my values and what are my needs? And then how can I turn it around and take my needs and make it my gift? See? We all know so many different people. And we can think, when things went south, a lot of times there was some element of selfishness where people were saying me, 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 and doing all kinds of actions based on me, 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 trying to consume. Now, what if that situation was turned around, and what they were trying to consume, they tried to become a generator of? If you look into all the relationships you had and say, well, if they became a generator of what they were trying to suck out, how would have things been different? See, we can look at it with our own lives. I mean, we've all done stupid stuff. Be honest. We're all good people, but we're not perfect people. So being not perfect, we make mistakes. We do dumb things. So if we analyze, okay, what are the 3 dumbest things I've done in my life? And what was I trying to get? What was I trying to suck out of the situation? And say, wait a minute. This is what I really wanted. And this is why I did these actions. I know they weren't so ethical, but this is what I wanted. What if you became a generator of what you wanted? Can you imagine how things would have flipped around? How the situation would have been it might have resolved very, very differently. See? So we just have to say, be honest. What are the 3 dumbest things I've done and what was I trying to get out of it? No one's judging you. Forget that judgment stuff. But it's just to say, okay, I'm not perfect. But how do I take that error in judgment and say, what was I trying to get? Now, what if I tried to give it? How things would have been different. And now that situation's over. It's over. But I still, in me, somewhere is that desire. How can I become a generator of that now? The things I wanted can be the things I give. See? Can you understand how you're sort of karmically healing all that back nonsense that you did by taking a counterforce and living it out? So you lived out some ignorance. Why don't you try to live out some wisdom? See? Why don't you try to balance the scales? We've done some stupid stuff in the past, so let's do some wisdom stuff in the future. Let's start now. Let's balance the scales. Fulfill your purpose. Accept that you are far bigger than you imagine, and forget the eyes of man. Just like the way you should try to live out your life is, I'm going to stand before God and His saints, and I'm accountable to them, and I want to be whole before them. See? If we're trying to be whole before man, who has profoundly imperfect vision, are we ever going to satisfy them? Their vision is completely corrupt also. So how come you're trying to be whole before something that has no wholeness? Can they perceive wholeness if they're not whole themselves? Not possible. So no matter what you do, they're not going to see it, and they're not going to value what you're attempting to do because they themselves are ill. They themselves are not whole. So how can they see wholeness? Which means, how can they appreciate the wholeness that you're manifesting in yourself? Isn't that a definition of frustration? Where you're trying to be whole, and the people who are judging you are not whole themselves? Not possible. Not possible for them to truly appreciate who you are and what you're doing. So why are you trying to fulfill? Why are you trying to perform for them? Forget the human beings. Forget them as a judge of your value, of your worth. Forget that. Look into the scriptures and say, via the words of the saints, as emissaries of the God, what has value in the human condition? And fulfill that. Take your part of that puzzle and fulfill that. Well, I don't have understanding of these principles, but I do have understanding of the need for this principle based on my own internal psychic experience. Okay, I'll try to fulfill that. See? It's like the person who goes through poverty. This has been my personal experience. The persons who go through poverty are the most generous. They are absolutely the most generous people. You know, I've had people come to the temple who are multimillionaires. They'll make a penny cry. They're so tight. They'll squeeze that penny so tight it'll cry. But the people who have had every kind of difficulty, every kind of suffering, they are absolutely, without a doubt, the most generous. They have the most sensitive heart, and they have the most immediacy. They recognize and they come immediately to help. See? So they took their suffering, their poverty, their past need, and became a generator. See? So when poverty is present in their present, there's how can I help? What can I do? See? Or they suffered some emotional difficulty. My husband is passed. When they see some woman whose husband is failing and is on his way out, they're present at the door. Because they understand. They understand. They've become sensitive. See? So they become a power in the world. You know, a divine presence in the world. You know, I understand the loss of a husband and that the need of security and warmth and comfort in that time. They're the ones who are there immediately. See? That's a sattvic response, a pure higher response, solar-based response. See? So all the quote-unquote deficits or needs that you may think you have or that you've experienced, you have to learn to turn it around. There's a reason you had those deficits, those needs, those impoverishments. There's a reason for it, you know, so that you can learn to embrace it with humanity, with compassion, and to serve others through your needs, through the things that you yourself wanted. See? And we can do it large or small, you know. It's not how big the project, it's whether you're engaged in the project. That's what heaven is looking for. Heaven is looking for your engagement. You know, as you become more endowed with sensitivity, heaven will give you more capacity. See? The well will get bigger and bigger and bigger. But you were made sensitive to a need by having the need. And then you turn it around. See? The hungry man becomes the farmer. See? So you have to say, you look into your own lives, look at your values, and look at the things that, you know, I want love, I want love, I want love, you know. Well, maybe you have to analyze what that love is. That love means relationship. And then analyze what relationship means. Well, I want people to live peacefully, harmoniously, lovingly together. So your life project is to try to create community, you know. You have to look at all these different things. You know, always remember, you were born out of God. You know, you're not just a mud vessel. You were born out of God. You know, that's your ultimate destination. One way or the other, you're heading home. The question is, how fast and by what route? You know, some people want to go through hell first and then make a U-turn and head up, head north. You know, other people say it's too hot down there, I'm heading north now. You know, it's up, God gave you free will. So you can choose the route back home. You know, some have to go through a lot of suffering. You know, it's okay. Whatever it takes. But ultimately, if you look at the saints are mercy. The saints are charity. The saints are giving. The saints are compassion. That's your higher personality. The question is, what is your unique route to all that stuff? See? Realize that there is a divine endowment. As you realize there's a divine endowment, then you can start to live a truly purposeful life. To say, okay, how can I take that divine endowment, that unique mission to me, and make that my life path, my life purpose. See? Unless we choose a mission or choose a purpose, aren't we sort of drifting? We're sort of just, whatever is sort of there, I'll sort of deal with. Come on, isn't that somewhat of a pathetic life? We got to be honest. You know, sometimes we're not so pretty in the mirror. The morning face is not often our best face. You know, not until we wash, you know, get ourselves freshened up, then we say, okay, brush my hair. Well, for those of you who have hair. Others of us, that's a history. So, but then, you know, large or small, before the eyes of God, you're glorious. You're glorious. And see, the secret is from the teacher's point of view, we not only see the nonsense, but we see what's glorious. We see the messages of God written on your hearts, you know. And I don't know how you say it, but it's something beautiful. You see the beautiful, glorious potential in the soul. Mm-hmm. The only problem is they don't see it yet. And then the teacher tells you to do these practices, do this prayer, do this mantra, do this meditation, do this action. And it's not because they want you per se to do anything. It's that they want you to become aware of what's so beautiful and what's so glorious and what's so special within you. You know, the God's honest truth is God has written a message across each and every one of your hearts. And the whole mystical journey is to become aware of your unique, very special mission in life. It's very special. It's very personal. You know? But you have to wake up. The teachers are there to lovingly prod you, lovingly cajole you, lovingly press you, lovingly nurture you, so that you simply you realize that you are intrinsically precious, intrinsically special, and that you have an intrinsic special mission. Each of you has a mission. See? So, that's why the teachers are there. That's why the scriptures are there. So that you can find that path to yourself. See? And fulfill it. Sometimes it takes multiple births to fulfill a particular mission. And then heaven writes something else on your heart. And then you have to fulfill that. See? But ultimately, everything that God has written across your heart is for you to come to find your full humanity. See? To find your full humanity through action. See? So that's, you know, so you have to say, how can I find my full humanity through action? You should write that down, those of you who have pens and papers. How can I find my full humanity through action? See? You know, no saint became a saint by sitting on his hands. Never happened. It's always through action. See? But what did they do? Some circumstance made them look deeply into life and say, what's important? What has meaning? What has value? What has purpose? And then what's intrinsically unique to me? What can I become impassioned by? And then get busy. Get out there and do something. Forget making man happy. You know, say, I'm going to satisfy my family's view of me. I'm going to satisfy my friend's view of me. I'm just telling you, abandon that notion. That's a recipe for frustration. See, to the best of my capacity, you know, how can I stand as an honest being, a loving being, a purposeful being before God and His saints? See? Seek to satisfy them. Like, I'll tell you honestly, I don't give a dink about what anybody thinks about me. I look at my guru, Sadguru Sant Keshavadas. That is the only barometer You know, can I stand before him with honesty, integrity, and purpose? The rest of the human beings on the planet, God bless you, see you later. I'm not interested in your opinions. It sounds terrible, but it's like standing in a mental institution and being judged by the inmates. Does that make any sense? They are all, has all kinds of infinite psychological impoverishments. How can they judge? How can they judge? But those souls who can see your heart and your purpose and your mission and your intrinsic divinity, get next to them and ask them, well, what do you think? Can I stand in your presence with purpose, with integrity, with honesty? See? So I look at my master, Sadhguru Sant Kesavadas, and say, can I stand in his presence with integrity, with purpose, with honesty? Or am I like shamefully, it's like, coming in embarrassment, like, okay, I really messed up. So the whole thing is to find great souls or great scripture and say, can I stand before that in honesty and integrity? Let that be your judge. Everybody else, they're all nice human beings. The whole planet's full of nice human beings. But remember, the whole planet's full of unenlightened human beings. They lack wholeness. So how can they judge the wholeness of your heart and the purpose of God written before it? Do they have the eyes to see that? No way. No way. A dog can only bark. It can't speak English or French. It can bark. Okay, so everything is limited by where it is in life. So this idea of trying to make everybody happy and satisfy everybody else's vision of you, my encouragement is abandon that. Abandon that. Try to be able to stand before God and his saints with integrity, with honesty, with purpose. Let that be your measure. See? They have no judgment on you. They just want you to become to a point of fulfillment. Can you say any human being doesn't have judgment on you? Every human being that looks at you has some level of judgment. See? That's a problem. That's a problem. But the saints, the masters, and God has no judgment on you. They just are looking at your process to finding yourself, your process to finding your mission. When the real Dharma teachers, real gurus look at you, they don't have any judgment on you. Whether they speak harshly or sweetly, they actually have no judgment on you. They're doing whatever is necessary to make you take your next step towards yourself, towards your true self, your true mission, your true purpose. See? And sometimes there'll be friction between teacher and guru. It's an unenlightened friction. The teacher sees what's written in your heart, and you see what you have written in your mind. See? So the difference is your self-perception of yourself and the guru's perception of what heaven is written in your heart. They're not the same. That's hence the friction. Guruji's telling me to do this. Guruji's telling me to do this. I want to do that. Guruji is trying to get you to fulfill the mandate in your heart, and you have just the notions of your mind. See? Hence the friction. It's okay, but you should understand why sometimes, you'll be irritated with the teacher. He's looking at your intrinsic heart. You're looking at your mental notions. And the difference between them is where the friction lies. See? So why do you bow before the teachers? Why do you try to humbly serve? The teacher doesn't care about your service. The teacher wants you to be near them so that you can absorb the culture. See, the culture of the saints. You've learned the culture of man, but the teachers want you to learn the culture of the saints because they want you to get admission into the kingdom. You already have admission into the earth. So the culture of man is common to you. But what's not common to you yet is the culture of the saints, which allows you admission into a higher region. See? So that's why become close, stay near, visit, call, write, be advised, listen, talk, Come to the house, come have dinner. It's not Hari calling you. It's upstairs. They want to book a ticket for you. Next week, tomorrow. I'll catch you later, Hari. What are you gonna do? So you have to understand that everybody in this room, one way or the other, has called out saying, you know what? I'm not satisfied. I have this, I have that, I've done this, I've done that. I'm not satisfied. That's why you're here. That is a solar call to return home. Now, how do I return home? There's nothing you've ever done on your own. You were never born alone. Your mother was there. You'll never walk alone. The planet is full of human beings. You're not alone. And then when the cry comes out deep enough, then the teachers show up. Because that cry of dissatisfaction is a cry seeking wholeness, seeking wholeness. So when you cry enough, then the teacher pays attention. Aha, finally they've risen to a point of discomfort, a point of understanding, maybe on an existential level, that there's a lack of wholeness. Now there'll be enough motivation to make the move, to find the culture of the saints as opposed to the culture of man. So it's that dissatisfaction, that cry of lack of wholeness, that brings you into the company of teachers. Whether you're conscious of it or not, that's how you got here. That's how we all land up with Dharma teachers, is that cry in our hearts of lack of wholeness, this essential dissatisfaction. We're seeking wholeness. We're seeking completion. See? We're seeking the divine God nature inherent in us. What is the message of the heart written for me personally? And there definitely is. It's not a maybe, it's definite. How can I find that? So you get next to the teachers, you get next to the scriptures. So that slowly it's revealed. That process of revelation becomes a personal experience, a personal process. See how all this works? No Dharma teacher, no real Dharma teacher ever really wanted to be a Dharma teacher. The very desire to be a Dharma teacher, you disqualify. Just the desire, you've absolutely disqualified yourself. Isn't that funny? You can't want this job. You're compelled into it. In your deep prayers, how can I help? How can I serve? And then God says, teach. And the next thing you say, who, me? This little pebble you want to teach? You learn to believe in miracles. So you learn to say the prayers, you learn to say the mantra, you learn to do the meditations. And it's heaven that fills your sails. You're just this boat, a vessel. And then heaven pours this treasury into you and blows its breath across your sails. And then you go out and distribute. But your first notion, as heaven puts pressure on you to launch and do something for humanity, is who me? Who me? Because we think I'm so small. We don't realize the magnitude of our heart. And it's by doing those meditations and prayers and mantras that we start to realize that I'm not just a man. That there's this cosmic mission hidden in my heart. That's more than this clay pot. But it's there, it's present, it's God-given. Fulfill it. fulfill it. That's it. You don't even understand it per se. But it's present. It won't go away. Fulfill it. So this clay pot just becomes a vessel to fulfill a mission written by heaven. That's it. But the human mind is so small, we can't understand. How can I create a miracle? Well, it's not I. It's that reality does a miracle through you. See? So you start to have a miraculous life. Nobody sees it, but you have a miraculous life. And the thing is that your whole life is to bring the revelation of the miracle in each person's heart. See? So you know what you think. You know what you've created. But do you know what heaven has written across your heart? See? And that's to find a truly purposeful life. What did heaven write across my heart? See? And that's where those various examinations of value and your personal needs, those two elements, as you can find those elements, analyze those elements, and then manifest them in the world, you are fulfilling your purpose in life. It's not what you thought, what you created in your mind. That's not your purpose. See? But your fundamental, what was of value in this situation? You're in all these different life situations for a reason. Srupi with mom and dad. What was of value in that family relationship? What is the value? Think deeply. That kind of committed love. Stability. Okay, that's a great strength. That becomes a value. I'll always try to have a committed love and a stability. I'm going to manifest that. See? And then, what were my needs? So this young girl is becoming an architect. She is an architect. So she has this, intelligent expression, and she's a woman. Okay. Now she can say, okay, how can I bring intelligent, purposeful, creative expression to other people just like me? See? Not just I just want to be an artist or an architect, but how can I help others to fulfill their creative vision? Like, she's a young girl, so she's launching into the world now. As she becomes stable and powerful in her position, how can I launch others into the world? How can I take other people who are somewhat cloistered and launch them into the world? So these are the things that she'll work on, But all of a sudden, it becomes a wonderful adventure because it's no longer about you. See? If you're thinking about me, just in your head and not in your heart, it becomes corrupt. It becomes selfish. See? It becomes unenlightened. But if you look at your various experiences and say, what's of value? And then what were the needs of my life? And then say, how can I generate that? How can I learn to be still? And then go out and generate that. Then you become an agent of the kingdom, fulfilling your own unique purpose. See? And the teacher's job is to help you awaken to your purpose so that you go out and live your unique, purposeful life, meaningful before the eyes of God. Forget everybody else's opinion. They don't count. It's like saying, I want those goats to judge me. That doesn't make any sense. They're goats. It doesn't make any sense. Find in a high condition and say, I want to be judged by that standard. Not by the standards of the deficient, but by the standards of the full. See? Then I can take my own measure. See, I know where I am and what I have to do. Don't try to be judged by the deficient. God bless them. Good luck. See you guys later. Get off onto your own purposeful mission, purposeful life, large or small. Someone can say, well, I'm totally broke. I have no money. Well, don't you go to the market every day? Don't you walk down the street every day? Well, why don't you say a kind word to people? Why don't you make people smile? You know, why don't you give somebody some respect who doesn't get respect? Don't you think you're changing their lives? See, you have to just embrace whatever opportunity that you have to make a difference. See, and it's for the glory of God and before God, not for the glory of man before man, for the glory of God before God. See, that should be the arbiter of your success in life, not what the human beings think. See, completely different. I'm going to be judged by my mom and dad. I'm going to be judged by my boss. I'm going to be judged by my society. I'm going to be judged by my culture. Please forget all that stuff. Please forget it. Their vision is not whole. So how can they see you? You know, a miracle of God. Can they see the miracle of God in your heart? Can they see that? I don't think so. I don't think so. So why be judged by them? You know, say your prayers. Read the scriptures, read the lives of the saints, and say, okay, these are the standards, these are the goals. And then as you study the yogas, these are the methods of revealing what's in my heart and fulfilling the glory of my heart before God. See? Fulfill the glory of your heart before God. See? The gurus are just intermediaries to help you do it skillfully, to unearth yourself the wisdom, the love skillfully. That's our job. That's our job. Just so you can do it skillfully. So that someone can hold your hand, someone can have dinner with you, someone can walk with you, talk with you. Because in the beginning, you're not that sensitive an antenna. So God is there, you're here, but your antenna is not so good. See? So the gurus say, do these prayers, do these mantras, do these chants, do this puja, do this pilgrimage, all to make your psychic antenna pure, clean, clear, attentive. And then revelation, you know. You're not guessing about life. You know what to do. See? Their job is to tune the instrument, help you tune up. Tune up, clean up, pay attention. You know? Don't get caught in some tamasic dream, some low dream. See? They want you to dream to what's in the glory of your heart. That's why the teachers teach. Because they see God's glory in your heart. And they want that to manifest. They want this earth to be reflective of that kingdom. In this earth, in your heart, is the bounty, or you can think of like a joyous field of flowers. They want that to come out. They want that to become manifest. We don't want anything from you. What we do want is what is intrinsic to you to manifest. Not your neurotic personal dreams, but the glory of your heart to become the fullness of your being. See? So that the heart, the mind, and the body are all in sync. It's all one glorious expression. See? And it's your unique glorious expression before God. See? Each of you is a flower of God. Different flower. This flower, this flower, this flower. You're all completely unique. But you're all flowers of God. And you have to be able to become aware of it and manifest it in the world. Any thoughts, ideas? Hari's talking a lot. Can you look at your own personal, like if people in the room can say, okay, what are 3 values that are really important to me? That life wouldn't have meaning if these values weren't there. See? What are 3 values that for you personally, life would not have meaning if those values weren't there? And then as you think about it, I'd love to hear some of what you have to say. Yes?
I kind of think of those values, but there's something that always seems to be getting in the way, which is surviving.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, because I was thinking about what you were saying, and I was thinking how one thing I experience a lot is this desire to have financial security, and it seems to constantly be a threat to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking, well, how can I be a generator of that? And it seems almost like a paradox, because
It is a paradox.
I can't seem to find it, so how do I give it? that just seems to get in the way of the things that I really care about, which is like seeing everyone around me as God and love and truth, and the things that really matter to me seem to be get put aside for that thing that keeps getting in the way.
Well, that's that's a perfect example. So financial security. Right now, wobbling. Job is maybe yes, maybe no, and I've got a family to take care of. That's a real thing in our economy. Everyone can understand that. But no matter how insecure you are, which now that issue, you're hypersensitive to that issue. Now find somebody 10 times more insecure than you and help them.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Find somebody 10 times more insecure than you and help them. But see, what's good is because you can say, well, I don't have so much money. But you have some money. You know? You have something. So the thing is, it makes you become divinely creative. To say, who has 10 times less than myself? And then what can I do? And as you can lift them, you will be lifted.
I recognize the delusion in it, like in my own self. Like it's just like I almost make it worse.
Yeah, but the key here is analysis and action. Analysis and action. So get onto the internet and find someone that you can relate to who is dirt poor, who you know.
You know, it's perfect because just think about that scares the living crap out of me, so it must be a good practice.
Absolutely.
Because I'm like,
the healing you need is the healing you must give. You know, so find a community where there's significant impoverishment, and then find an individual that you can relate to, and start there in healing their lives. So let's say, I can give $5 a month. Well, $5 a month to a child in Africa or to a child in Asia who doesn't have anything, all of a sudden means they might eat, or they might have medicine, But we have to, we can't be impotent. We can't say, I can't do. We can say, I can do somehow. See? I can do, you don't have to know how. Somehow. Somehow I can do. See? And that's where your humanity is starting to be birthed. Through healing someone of a suffering that you understand. Because you know the terror, the inconvenience, the empowerment of that maybe situation. Can I make the bills? Can I protect my family? See? You know that. It's intimate to you. Find someone 10 times worse and help heal them. See? The key is being a common man and a man of God is if you take action. You'll be a common man if you say, I can't do. You'll become a man of God if you can say, I can do somehow. I mean, you don't have to know, but you just have to have conviction. Somehow, I can do it. And then take action. Without action, forget about it. You're rooted in the earth. The moment you take action, you're on your way to the kingdom. See? You're on your way. And you have to trust that life is a miracle. That's why you say somehow. You don't know how you're going to do it, but somehow it's going to get done. And that's it. And then you become a partner with God. You'll be quiet because now you're willing to take action. Bit by bit, heaven will supply the means. It'll get done. You'll lift somebody, and in lifting them, you'll be lifted. Your own impoverishment will be lifted by serving and lifting them from their impoverishment. See? That's how it's done. That's how all the saints have acquired their position, the masters, their completion. See? By taking action. Others?
I'm not sure if it's one of my top three, but equality is really important to me. And I think that one thing that's frustrating right now is this things are not very equal or egalitarian in the world, and I think that's a little difficult. So what guidance would you have for that?
Well, you're not going to cure the world. You know, is the world perfect because Jesus came, Buddha came, all the saints have come, and they're complete packages. But in your own personal life, you can say, in my world, not in the greater world, in my sphere of interest and of action in the world, how can I bring the idea of a more egalitarian, balanced relationships with each individual? So it has to start with you, by how you treat everybody, you know, how you act in the world, how you manifest that energy in the world. And that'll come through your intellect and through your emotions and through your physical action. Forget the entire big world. See? You've got to start with what's beneath your feet. You know, that kind of egalitarian integrity. But you have to make a deep analysis of it. Right now, it's on a feeling level that the world should be fair. But make a deep analysis of it, meaning, how can I help to make the world fair? See, in my personal life, in my personal dealings. And then as you can do your own immediate personal experiments, heaven will give you more strength, so that you can. A lot of times we have good intentions and we want to work on a much bigger stage than we really have the power to fulfill. So we become corrupt. We started out right, but we got twisted. You know? So like so many of the religious teachers are like that. They had some really positive feelings, but they didn't have the depth of experience and develop the integrity. So they get launched high. The integrity's not there, so they become corrupt. See? They lose the mission. See? So the mission should grow organically. You know. So like you can, so you're looking at egalitarian. So this Cesar Chavez, he came out of the dirt as a peasant. He worked day and night, really difficult situations, struggling. So as he got greater and greater in terms of public notice, the integrity maintained, because he went from small experiment to larger experiment to larger experiment. So there was a consistent integrity, you know, from beginning to end. He was fulfilling a mission, but that mission started in the dirt. You know, if you're familiar with him, he was a labor for the Latin Americans, a labor teacher, and trying to bring, you know, decency, integrity, honesty to the agricultural industry. You know, so that the peasants would be treated with decency and fairness and proper pay and proper housing and proper health insurance, all these things that they didn't have. But he started in the dirt, you know, in the hard, grubby shacks, trying to empower people. And then he moved, and his stage got larger and larger and larger and larger. But he had integrity from beginning to end, because he started in a very personal way, and slowly got bigger. See? As opposed to trying to launch and saying, okay, I want to change the world, but you don't have the substance yet. You don't have the integrity. You don't have the maturity yet. So you start really small with your personal relationships and your deep analysis, and then get bigger and bigger and bigger. See? As your strength grows and as you maintain your integrity. See? You know, not big like a balloon. It can get very big but also very hollow. Very visible but lacking of substance. That's a lot of teachers. big visibility, very little substance. But you should become you should be like a gold brick. Glorious, substantial, valuable. Other ideas. What 3 values that are super important? Has the time gone by? Oh my God. All right. But anyway, these are the things you should write out and make your analysis. We all have to live in this world. But we wanna live. At the end of the day, we want to live with purpose. We want meaning. You equate the two things, purpose and meaning. Who wants to live a vacuous life? When you die, you say, "Oh, what did I do?" Who wants to die with that kind of depression, psychic depression? Was there any meaning? Come on. So purpose and meaning. We all have a legacy. What is your legacy in life gonna be? The meaning, the purpose of your life. Die precious. Die self-aware. Die precious. See? And that preciousness was what you shared and how you shared and what you manifested and how you manifested it. See? Then you're fulfilling the purpose of your life. You're all precious. All the Dharma teachers see that you're precious. You don't see that you're precious. See? Do something. Live like a verb. And forget the word me. Always pray, how can I help? What can I do? Make that deep prayer. How can I help? What can I do? Get at it. Be a verb. You can always give something. If you have no money, give some respect. Give some kindness. See? You can always give some encouragement. See? Find what your need is and then turn it around and help others. Any other ideas, thoughts? Sarupi? I won't see you so much, so I want any voice that you have?
I guess I'm just going to work on realizing what I need and then try and find ways to
Help others.
Yeah.
See, at that point you become significant. Significant before God.
Mm-hmm.
See, significant before God. If we're just doing it for ourselves, we're just significant before our own petty ego. Have we all seen the egotist? How special I am, how important I am, and you realize how vacuous they are, that they're nothing. Be precious before God, and that means help, lift. See? Okay. Any other thoughts, ideas before we close the? Yes, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Mona?
Mona.
Yeah. I was thinking belonging. Yeah.
A sense of belonging.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was remembering times where I was really upset, or like you're saying, said angry words that I regretted, and I think what was missing was a sense of belonging at the time.
So build community. One way or the other. First start with your home. Making people feel warm, connected, valued in your home. And then where are other places building community with integrity? And how can I participate in those communities to support those communities? See? But don't you understand how special you'll become? How special you are just to have that sensitivity? And then all of a sudden, I like being around Mona. I always feel loved, respected. I feel like I'm valued. See? You become this hub of specialness. How much did it cost you? Nothing. Not a penny. But it cost you the currency of your heart. See? You were sharing the currency of your heart. And that makes you special. And that makes the communities that you build and support special, because it came out of the currency of your heart. See? That's a mission. That's a mission. No matter what job you're doing, that's a mission. You know, it's making the world, it's showing the hidden specialness in the world to your direct action. See? So it has to go from analysis to action. See? And that action is part of the flowering of God within you. See? You want to know what God is doing? Find the actions in your heart. Find what's written in your heart. That's what God is doing. You want to find what man is doing? Follow what's in your head. You know, your ideas, your thoughts. That's what you're doing. What God is doing is that divine energetic alchemy in your heart, what was quietly written in your heart. You felt the need. See, you felt this thing of community, of creating warmth for people. You felt it when it's present and when it's not present. And you understood the meaning of it, so that you become uniquely specialized to create that warmth, that security, you know, that sense of belongingness for other people. You become a specialist in that. See? Isn't that healing the world? You know, it's healing the world beneath your feet and then slowly extend out. So that's good, but you must make the analysis, you know, so that you have a project. You have a project. Other ideas, thoughts?
Is there not also a kind of right action balance in terms of, let's say, joy is one of the values that you have, and then trying to bring joy to somebody who doesn't want to experience joy? So, for example, you can hold a space of joy, but that doesn't mean that that other person's going to come into it.
Yeah, that's true. But your job is to create the opportunity. See, that's your job, is to create the opportunity. We can't force anybody to. We have to always respect people's sovereignty, but we can create the opportunity. That's what Gurujis do. We all create the opportunity. We can't force you, nor desire to force you to do anything, but we can create the space. We can create the opportunity for you. See, that's the gift, creating the opportunity for you. See, it's up to you to take the step. See, you have to choose wholeness. See, you have to choose God. You have to choose the sacred. We won't impinge on your personal right to choose. You might choose misery, but we've chosen, we've created a space for an alternative. See? So we create these positive alternatives. You as a human being create a positive alternative, but we can't force anybody to do anything. And again, always remember that you're seeking to stand before God and God's judgment, not man. See? It's totally different. You have to understand who you serve. You know, if we're trying to serve man and what man thinks, that's a disaster. It always has been. From one end of the planet to the other is frustration. Why? Because we're trying to get the approval of man. That's definite frustration. Seek the acknowledgement and approval of God and his ministers, his saints and masters. That's who you should try to stand before and serve. They'll tell you whether a job well done or not so well done. See? Man, forget about them. They're imperfect, hungry creatures. See? Not bad. Imperfect. You know? No wisdom mind. No insight. You know, primal still. But we try to create a condition where people can come into wholeness. See? So if you dig a well in a thirsty village, don't you think people are going to come? They'll slowly come. First they'll say, what's he doing? Oh, he's a madman. There's no water there. But you keep digging, and when the water comes and they start to realize the value, they'll come. But they have to first realize the value. But you had to dig the well. See? Just, you dug the well because it was simply right action. It was the thing to do, whether they realized it or not. See? So you're not trying to, if you went to the city council and said, should I dig the well? They'll say, no, there's no water there. You know, why get their judgment? If God said, dig the well here, you dig the well there, and then they'll come around. See? Everybody wants wholeness. And if you create a space of greater and greater wholeness, those who have that need will come, whether they realized it or not prior. But when that well is dug and they're thirsty, they'll come. See? When they appreciate the value. So, but you have to take action. Take action based on the antenna in your heart. See? To fulfill the need. And you did it for the glory of God. See? That's it. Serve God. You know. Other questions, ideas, thoughts? Okay, so we'll sit for 4 or 5 minutes, and this is an empowerment talk. You know, that you have to understand. You know, I was birthed by a miracle. Just get that into your heart. I was birthed by a miracle. And there's something written across my heart. So with the spine erect, you'll take a deep breath in. You'll release the breath. And then you'll try to hold the silence. Peaceful silence. Not just silence, peaceful silence. And gently take a deep breath in. And then release the breath. And then you can gently open the eyes. Remember, you have a divine purpose. That you are a precious child of God. And you have a divine purpose. Your mission is to find the purpose in your heart and then to harmonize what's in your head with what's in your heart. And then take action. See? But the message is written in your heart, not in your head. It's in your heart. And then coordinate that head with the heart. Take action. See? That's what we have to do. Okay. Thank you, one and all, my friends, for coming to Rupi Ram Krishna.